Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison, and this is the kitty of the day, Violet. Now, she's an upcoming mama. If you look and see her tummy's looking kind of big, isn't she a pretty lady? I'm sure she's going to have some pretty babies. But now, if you like this show, if you like hear my hot takes Monday through Friday, typically around 11 a.m. Eastern, we don't always make it. That's the goal. Or if you just like seeing the kitty of the day, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so you get told when we actually do the show. I know it's all over the place, but that's why you hit that bell. We'll see you in the show.
Beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day.
I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning. Glad to be back with you guys. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday, and I'm a little bit late. Apologies for both, but you guys know I got a lot going on. It's the holidays. I got a renovation going on. I'm trying to help out where I can. I got some people. I'm obviously I'm not trying to make myself big alpha male. I can fix everything. I'm not doing all of this. I paid a person to do a lot of this stuff, redoing all of it, but I've been also, too, you can see, like, a lot of these podcasts have been covered. I've been doing that. I've been, like, pulling off trim and, old doors and repainting everything so that everything looks nice. All the little stuff, the little busy work that I can easily do without having to have some sort of great know-how when it comes to the contractor world. I have a little bit, but just enough to get by. But yeah, sorry about that. Yesterday they were putting in the granite countertops, so I'll show you guys actually here in a minute once we get into our introductory segment, our icebreaker clips/stories, and then we'll get into our foreign policy as we like to whiplash from the goofy to the serious, although we never really actually take anything too serious because if you don't laugh, you'll cry with a lot of stuff we can show. And then we'll get into the main topics. We got global MK-Epstein. We'll be covering some of the new images that got released about a week ago. I mean, there's been a lot going on. And then going to kind of tie it into a larger story into the Intel world. Some of the creepy stuff that we can kind of, sort of surmise from some of the weirdness that has come out, and also some new stuff from Dropsite and kind of tying it all together. I'm not going to draw the lines for you, but I'll put out the dots. Then we got Transhumanist Goyslop. Hell, this is a segment I've been axing multiple times now, so it's actually been building to be greater and greater every single time because I find a other little thing to add to it. So here we are. I think it should be an interesting one. And then the influencer wars is a kind of little bumper on the end. I'll try not to linger in there too much. If I was chasing the algo, that'd be the opening story, but I just can't. I know we did that last morning dump. There was just so much theater going on, and while I don't like to tend to cover the theater stuff on this show, you at least need to be aware somewhat of hey, this is going on. This is what's percolating in the backs, and so to be prepared for whenever something drops. And I think things are building through a crescendo. The shoe is about to drop in these influencer wars. Obviously, I think it's basically fake and gay on basically every side, but we'll cover all that and more, and then we'll intermittently check into the chat, say our good mornings. And I hope you guys are having a good morning. I've had a little bit of a weird morning. Didn't really get a workout in. I foregoed that for getting some more stuff done around the house and getting prepped for you great fellers. And ladies. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the introductory, our little icebreaker segment that we do. Little fun, funny, little gen pop. And so kind of starting off super duper duper serial here. Breaking. The CIA reportedly pays individuals to spy for them, and if they ever try to stop, they blackmail them, according to former CIA Director John Brennan. Oh, thank you. See Woke Beyond here saying, damn, this changes everything. Thank you. I guess it's something. I don't know. I guess. Well, obviously it's silly at the same time. It's like, I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. A former CIA director saying these things. Kind of wild. Oh, just a little, I do want to warn you guys, there is the off chance, I saw them messing with some electrical stuff, so there is the off chance they flick the wrong breaker and this goes out. If that does ever happen, I usually do try to timestamp any dead space so you guys can avoid it, and I also try to timestamp the segments so that you guys don't have to deal with the chit-chat. I usually try to keep the interaction with the chat toward the segments, at the end of the segments for those who like to listen back or on the replay or audio or whatever, so I don't assault your ears. I like talking to you guys, but not everyone wants to hear that stuff. All right, let's keep moving. This one I find fun, more in the Gen Pop. Here is Diddy riding a bike and 50 Cent on Instagram saying, there ain't no seat on that bike, right? I just find it funny because these are the sort of things that me and my children have gotten to the age now where these are the things they come to me about. Like my 13-year-old the other day were like, do you know about this 50 Cent guy? And I'm like, yeah, he's hilarious. He's like, yeah, Diddy. And like, it's funny that these things come full circles. Like, yeah, these are like who was popular when I was your age. And now you're watching documentaries on how one of them was, I don't know, let's be real. In retrospect, 50 Cent was a real one. And then the other guy was diddling all the boys, is what it seems like. Really diddling everybody, basically, freaking off big time. So funny stuff. I think that this is how the world goes. I don't know. Maybe for me with having kids, it's a lot funnier. Now these are the sort of questions I get asked, and I get to have. They're at the point where they've developed such a sense of humor that they find this shit hilarious, like I do too. Like my daughter is telling me this stuff about there ain't no seat. Like this guy's gay. This is the sort of humor of the kids. I think we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. One more thing, the Diddy stuff. Here's one for 50 Cent, to kind of other example of what I'm talking about. It's a picture of flowers that was sent to him. You can even zoom in here. It says 50 Cent sent to him. It doesn't say who on there. I'm assuming maybe if you open the card, it does. But yeah, that's 50 Cent. What kind of gay shit is this? Diddy sent me flowers at Club 11. LOL. Why all the foreplay get busy? I'm stupid. I don't know what those last two little things meant. Why all the foreplay get busy? I'm stupid. I would actually, that'd be actually fun. Chat. I don't know. Do we have any melanated folks in the chat? If you could interpret that, I would appreciate it. I'm genuinely interested because I do find 50 Cent to be a funny guy. And I think he is interesting in his own way. So I think this might just be a language barrier thing. So I'd like to get the full context of the message here. Flowers here saying, what kind of gay shit is this? Diddy sent me flowers at Club 11. I think that's all self-explanatory. The LOL as well. Now, what I want to know is why all the foreplay get busy? I'm stupid. What does that mean? Why all the foreplay get busy? I'm stupid. I'm genuinely at a loss for words. I'm usually pretty good at interpreting, Blackanese or Ebonics or whatever you want to call it. But this one, I don't know. Maybe it's an older lingo, a different regional lingo that I'm not getting here. But I'm help me out, chat. What the hell does that mean? Moving on, our Rabbi Shmuley, our great Rabbi Shmuley, is currently infirmed. So prayers up for that guy, for the big fella. Here is him stretched out on a thing. Basically, he got his back blown out. I know, it's just I couldn't help but point out this photo. Thanks, Impure Hunter, from the show, one of the fans, for tagging me in this. It's always nice when you guys tag me in content, make it a lot easier for me. You guys are helping produce this show. But it's Rabbi sitting today at Mount Sinai. Not long ago, I severely injured my back and fractured vertebrae. Mount Sinai Hospital, the best around, has taken extraordinary care of me. I could not be more grateful. But whatever, it's the pose, him laying there like one of those French girls. All right, moving on. Actually, I got two more. My bad. I misspoke there. As soon as it loads. Oh, crap. I did the wrong one. Here we go. Just in. College graduates now have the same job finding rate as high school graduates, which I find to be hilarious. So, fuck you, all those people who went to college. Who's stupid now? To be fair though, I did go to college. I just failed out after the first semester and then said fuck it and joined the military like a retard. So yeah, but here we are, full circle. Don't tell your kids to go to college because it's a fucking scam unless they have like very, very, very specific desires. All right, guys, last one, but this is just me more showing off. I just want to show you guys these beautiful granite counters that came in. We actually had today, the sink got installed. It's this nice, cool, I'll have to show another picture or something later because it's a nice like gold sink. It's pretty pimp. So yeah, I dig it. I hope you guys think as well. Maybe I'll have to show pictures as we go through. So here you go. I don't know. I thought it was neat. This is what I was doing and dealing with painting. See that ladder in the background? That's for me painting. You can see the painter's tape and stuff. That's what I was doing when I was arguing with Dave Smith the other day. So whenever like, oh my God, what's Jose so mad about? I'm not. I'm probably stoned painting. I'm just I don't know, taking a snack break or something. All right, guys, let's pop in the chat, check in on you guys, see what you got to say. And we'll say our good mornings and all the like. Let's check in. Good morning, King David says hit the like dumpers, help our boy Jose. Yes, please do that. Hit that like button, help a brother out. Good morning, Knife Safety Plus. Good morning, Shannon Jones. Good morning, Zoe 99993. Good morning, Daz W. Good morning, Robin is a brat. Good morning, Fat Cats. Knife Safety Plus, are you black? I don't know. I think maybe I didn't see this before, but now I'm a little bit embarrassed. I'm usually one who, even in the Tower Gang days, I was known for being the most black, and I failed. I failed here. I don't know what the fuck is 50 Cent saying. I'm not black. Although I will say, we've always joked, my mother has literally no idea who her dad is. So, like, we've always joked, and she has, like, super crazy curly hair. Like, anyone who's heard of Coheed and Cambria, I always used to make fun of them because I liked that band when I was a kid. I used to make fun of my mom because she had the Coheed and Cambria hair, like, crazy curly hair. So we always joke that her dad was black. So, I think I'm a quarter black. Yeah, we'll call me quarter black Jose. Good morning, comment mama. Good morning. But yeah, it was way back in the day. Like, literally, my grandma had something like 5 different baby daddies. It was crazy. Different time. Maybe she was whore. I have no idea. Whatever. But basically every one of my aunts has like different dads. And just the second one, my mom, for some reason, that one just bailed like immediately. And for some reason, my grandma was always really weird about never telling my mom. So I don't know what deep dark secret there is, but maybe there's something. Maybe. Actually, you know what? Oh, that's so awesome that I revealed this. If I ever get big, that's going to be the basis for so many crazy conspiracies. They're going to be like, like Theo Von, we found out like is like a strange dad is some like, at least supposedly strange. I don't know. Maybe he really is some glowy fucking Swedish royalty or Finnish or whatever the fuck. But that'll be a fun one. People will probably spin out about that one. Be like, who's his granddad? Oh, and like, yeah, well, maybe one of these days we'll figure it. I don't really care, to be honest, but whatever. Maybe it'll make for fun conspiracies. Good morning, Tower Gang NPC. Good morning, JK Ho. Says, yo, are you an American patriot? Sure as fuck am, buddy. Good morning, Martin Mac. Good morning, JMS. Good morning, Robin again. Alpha Predator! I see what you're asking for there. If you don't get the call back, that was probably weird for you. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning, Black. He says, I have to glaze Jose. He's looking handsome and rugged, like he could split some serious wood. Fuck sleeves, abolish slavery. Oh, fuck yeah. Never, like I've said before, never inflate my ego intellectually, but always physically. That'll get you everywhere you want. Oh, look at these fuckers. All right, I'm just being goofy. Good morning, Tony Chin. Good morning. Good morning, Tilla Spook. Good morning, Goddess. Good morning. Who else we got? Did I say morning to you, Tilla Spook? If not, good morning. He says, I have to rewind to the intro. It's like a second cuppa for me. Yeah, it is a fun intro. I've always debated if I should like keep myself on the screen and dance like sometimes how I do for the outros for fun. But it's just, I know something about it just doesn't seem as nicely polished or produced. So I just don't. I forego it. Good morning, JMS. Good morning. Good morning, Uncle Ted. Says Diddy's doc did 28 mil views like Stranger Things this week. Okay. I really have no idea. Frame of reference. I don't really watch. I still need to watch the Stranger Things because I think I'm going to watch it with my family at some point. But I don't really watch TV at all. I need to get around to it. Good morning, Chuck Bam. Good morning. Hey, say what now? Let me see. Who else we got? Good morning, mega nerds. I've never understood a single dialect of Ebonics in my life, so I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I guess we're getting to the point now. Oh, Uncle Ted it says it means he's shoving dildos up his ass. That's possible. Good morning, LFW. Says Valhalla VFT, I think is what you mean, is VHT. I think it's VFT. I don't know. Now I'm doubting myself. Was a Green Beret that fell for every American lie. I don't know what that means. I mean, I've only watched a little bit of his content, so I don't really know what you mean by fell for every lie. Are you meaning like kind of in the sense that like he used to be a brainwashed soldier? Because I think he's kind of, the little bit I pay attention, I thought I've seen him be kind of based about like prior service stuff. So I don't know if you're saying he currently is falling for it, or is he like someone who's like kind of, oh shit, that was stupid. I don't know. I'd be interested to talk to him. He seems like a cool guy. I'd be interested to hear more about like his perspectives on his time and stuff, like thinking back on it. So it could be like a deep episode, but I don't know, not that that ever happened. Feel free though, hey, holler at him if he's on, if you know any way to, and say, hey, Jose, I'd like to have a conversation. I think it'd be a fun one. Real Granite, says Uncle Ted. Yes, I ain't no fucking poor. I'm a little bit poor. I'm getting by, but I don't know. If I'm going to renovate, I'm going granite. I'm not doing some poor shit. I knew it was granite before. I don't know if I ever told you guys, but we had a while back, we had like a slow leak that we had like weird flooring that had like layers and stuff. And so there was a leak that was under it for a long period of time. And we finally realized, we're like, oh shit. And so we had to like rip out a bunch of stuff in the kitchen, and we had to like basically pull up all the floors. So essentially we kind of got forced by circumstance to have to do a renovation. It's not like we're being, I keep saying we're doing a renovation. It sounds like some hoity-toity, oh, look, the Jeffersons down the street are having a renovation. Why can't we have a renovation, Sally? Or Jeff, like the nagging wife. No, we got forced into the situation. It was a matter of circumstance, improper installation. I probably should have installed the fucking dishwasher myself or verified the work. Always do that, guys. They left one of the grommets a little bit split, so there was a slow leak under there. But yeah, so we got a decent amount of insurance money, but unfortunately had to bite the bullet for a lot of the expenses, which has been, not gonna lie, rough. So, see that QR code at the top left? That'd be super fucking dope, guys. Things have been fucking tight. But yeah, it's not fun when you get forced a renovation upon you by circumstances. But, and insurance, like, I don't know, they gave I think it was around with like $20K, but like all things considered, all new flooring, redoing the kitchen, it's far more than $20K. So we've been saving, scrapping up. So, but for those who do support the show, I do appreciate it. You've been helping me out with that, with as tight as things have been like that, and all those circumstances and making things hard. You've been helping ease those things, and as a circumstance, have made it easier. That's how it comes full circle. But yeah, it's real granted though. If I'm gonna go all out, I mean, like, I figure we'd like to at some point sell and maybe move closer to family, because we had her mother-in-law and her dad, actually, my wife's, both of her parents died in the past like year and a half or something like that, and like they both died within the same year, which is kind of pretty hard for her. But anyways, we don't have really any family structure here in Florida now. And then, of course, right at that time, right when her family died, we'd be like, oh, it'd be cool to sell our house and bounce. It's like everything went to shit, and it's like you can't sell a house like that. So ideally, we'd like to move. So maybe perhaps back to near our family, in like Tennessee, my family, that we have some sort of family to be around. Because I will say, for any young people out there, I really, one of the great regrets of my life, although it's like, you say regrets, but it's like, it's what led you to where you're at, but it's like, it would have been more prudent probably to perhaps stay near family. When you're a young man, you really, especially as a man, because I feel like you're sold this lie that you need to be this like, go out and like conquer the world, which, I mean, to some extent, go make your own way, but like, you should still put value in family, and it's super helpful to be around family, essentially. Like, I know that, like, as I've gone older, I've thought more about generational. Actually, it's a big part of why I didn't want to be in the military anymore, because it's like, while it is like there are other, reasons, a whole bunch of reasons, but it's also like, the older I get, the more I realize your decisions, kind of echo through generations. So it's like, I mean, hell, even now I have to like break the instinct in sometimes my family, they almost have this like no, like, because like the idea of like say for example like the military thing, like I'm sure I've seen many people be like, oh, my granddad was military and they think it's super cool, and you're like, no, like I did that now, and then I have to deal with like somehow finding a way to figure out how to impart that lesson on my grandchildren, when in their head they're gonna be like, but you did it, and like, well, obviously that's not logical, but they there is definitely something to like just on a walking the walk, talking the talk. So whereas now I guess I'm in a better position to deliver that message to my future generations where I've actually backed away. They'll be like, well, you did that, and you're like, yeah, and I stopped. I didn't do the full 20. Like if I had done like the full 20, and be like, how would I? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm ranting a little bit too much for the good mornings. Let's keep going. What else we got in here? Good morning. Good morning. Let me see. Knife Stage Plus, you've made your mark on the world when people are checking your early life section of Wikipedia. Valhalla is so high IQ, he want to break Tim Pool in half. I don't know what you're getting at, LFW. Tim Pool is kind of a homo, so I don't know. It'd be cool to see. Good morning, Willie Miller. Good morning. Good morning. Dance for us, monkey, says Telespook. Good morning, Mustache. Good morning. Good morning. My favorite J Scholar. Good morning. Tom, see, do you. So, exactly. See, you get it. You get it. Good morning. Oh, Tilla. That's right. I don't know why I always forget that's you. By the way, we'd have behind the paywall an episode about Martianism, which, I had Tilla on to actually talk about it. He's a patron. And I like to reward the patrons. I like to talk to the patrons. I'm totally open to doing with episodes with you guys if you have interesting stuff. I want to learn more about the Marcionite Church. And we talked about that. It'll get released eventually. Not sure when. Good morning, Cubertimo. Good morning. Good morning. What else we got? Let me see. What else we got? Cubers, if Jose is renovating, that's high time I renovate. Yeah. Good morning, Tyler of the podcast, our Libertarian Podcast Review. Says, looking good. We're in the middle of redoing 2 bathrooms. Almost done. I love being able to do a lot of the work myself. Yeah, it is nice doing a lot of it. Obviously, there's a lot of this stuff that's like, I'm like, I don't know, like, granite countertops and all like the, doing this or measuring that. Little stuff, paint here and there. Yeah, for sure. Let me see. Comment Mama says, my mom and dad both died over the last 2 years. Much love to your wife. That shit is the worst. Yeah. For sure. Appreciate it. Cubert says, I put on a metal roof about 2 years ago, then ripped up floors in kitchen, bathroom, laundry, and living room, replaced plywood, and got living room down. But kitchen isn't even, so flooring been waiting. Yeah, I know it's a nightmare when you have this shit. You're like, you're waiting on the next thing, and then, constantly the economy just gets harder on you. You're like, fuck! Things, like, I don't know what, with building stuff right now, like, all the different, materials are so goddamn expensive. It's ridiculous. Bug Fight says, my grandpa convinced me not to go in the military. Good for him. Good for him. What else we got? Anybody else? Uncle Ted, what does 6'7" mean? 6'7". It literally is, I guess maybe I'm not supposed to explain the joke, but it literally is just like a meta joke of the joke is there's no joke. And so it's the idea that all these boomers goes, what is it? And then you go, that's what it is. It's just fucking with you. That's literally what it is. Gottis says the episode with Telespook was pretty interesting. Thank you. I thought it was interesting as well. And Telespook says, I should say Martianites are not anti-Semitic. We don't have any problems with Arabs. I like that. Like, we're not anti-Semitic. I don't have any problem with Arabs. I like that. That's a funny way to say you're not anti-Semitic. I would have to try that sometime. If I ever get the Nick Fuentes, Piers Morgan treatment, and they're like, oh, you're an anti-Semite. Whoa, buddy. I'm not an anti-Semite. I love Arabs. They're the great people. That is actually a pretty quality way to answer that story. All right, guys, let's get into some foreign policy. Give me a moment. Oh, I forgot to mention one of those stories was a Kalshi story. Which for those, it's like a sports bet. I think you can bet like everything. One thing I've been meaning to mention at some point just sideways. Apparently they're teaming up with CNN, which I just find that weird. I don't know. I mean, I've never been a gambling guy, but for one, even just mixing with the news just sounds gross. Obviously, it's like the ability for corruption seems to intensify. But then it's honestly, even just the idea of like Kalshi and essentially gambling, because to some extent it's almost like like a perverse expansion of the stock market, but like the most retarded ways. Like it just seems like we'll just bet on everything, and then that's what will stonks go up bigly. Oh, why don't you bet on, like, as if that we're going to kind of create some weird economy on gambling when it's like, this is all just, I don't know, it's just all just kind of gross. Just gross Goyslop shit. All right, guys, let's get into some foreign policy. Apparently, he seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela in the latest escalation. This was on Wednesday. Said U.S. forces yesterday have seized an oil tank off the coast of Venezuela, marking the latest U.S. escalation in its push towards a regime change war aimed at ousting Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. It says, as you probably know, we just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large, largest one ever seized, actually, and other things are happening. The U.S. officials told CBS the seizure involved 10 members of the Coast Guard, 10 U.S. Marines, and Special Ops. Other reports of the tanker named the Skipper, oh, that's adorable, departed Venezuela and was on its way to Cuba when it was boarded by U.S. forces. Oh, wow, that's great. Now, it's kind of funny. It was actually less than a month ago that we were talking shit about Iran doing a similar thing. They took they seized a tanker off its coast. They said it was smuggling fuel, and then CENTCOM came and immediately, called that out. And this is kind of rich irony. It says, Iran's use of military forces to conduct an armed boarding and seizure of a commercial vessel in international waters constitutes a blatant violation of international law, undermining freedom of navigation and the free flow of commerce. We call on Iran to articulate to the international community the legal basis for its actions, CENTCOM said. The irony. It's so yummy. So yummy. All right. What the hell? I have these out of order. My bad. Give me 1 second. Let me rearrange a tab. There we go. Now we're good. And then we also got some more hubbub about the strikes. So inside the Pentagon scrambled to deal with boat strike survivors from the New York Times. So the Pentagon was in a bind. The military plucked 2 survivors from the Caribbean Sea in mid-October after striking a boat that U.S. officials said was carrying drugs and needed to figure out what to do with them. On a call with counterparts of the State Department, Pentagon lawyers floated an idea. They asked whether 2 survivors could be put into a notorious prison in El Salvador, to which the Trump administration had sent hundreds of Venezuelan deportees, 3 officials said. The State Department lawyers were stunned with, one official said, and rejected the idea. The survivors ended up being repatriated to their home countries of Colombia and Ecuador, which this is, I mean, the core thing I'm getting at with this story is this right here. This idea, it's funny, actually, Larkin Rose actually did a pretty good video on this the other day about kind of shitting on like immigration controls and the idea of like when people are like, oh, he's been deported 4 times. You're like, okay, so you're saying if this is someone who's committed some sort of actual crime aside from some whatever gay fucking border thing or whatever, and you're trying to make some case from being a violent whatever the fuck, then like, what is this doing? Like, if he is actually like someone who is, aggressing against people, and you're then sending him to another country to just, whatever, go, just to be repatriated, it's I don't know, it just seems weird. You're sending it to another country. It's also like then the additional component here of like, if these are narco terrorists or whatever, it's the idea that these people are just going back and repatriated, like no big whoop. Oh, we'll just send them back, and then they can, I guess, come back another time. I don't know. Wouldn't you think if these are some sort of, I just feel like something else would be going a little bit different here. A little under 2 weeks later, on October 29th, Pentagon officials convened another session about boat strike survivors, video conference involving dozens of American diplomats from across the Western Hemisphere. The message was that any rescued survivors should be sent back to their home countries or to a third country, said 3 other officials who, like others interviewed for this article, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss internal deliberations. So, yeah, just send them back. Behind the policy was a quieter goal to ensure survivors did not end up in the U.S. judicial system. Oh, see? Because the idea is you would think that, won't you just handle them with your own judicial sense? Oh, well, maybe there's a reason they don't want that to be the case. The court cases could force the administration to show evidence justifying President Trump's military campaign in the region. The previously unreported calls demonstrate the haphazard and sometimes tense nature of the process within the Trump administration to weigh what to do with the survivors of attacks on boats. The military asserts, without presenting evidence, are drug smuggling vessels posing an immediate threat to Americans. Pentagon officials largely kept State Department counterparts in the dark about strike operations and scrambled to try to enlist diplomats to help deal with survivors, whom military officials referred to by specific terms that include distressed mariners. That phrase is usually used in a peacetime and civilian context. The talks took place after the first attack on September 2nd, when the U.S. military killed 2 survivors with the second strike. Pentagon officials have not fully explained the process for handling survivors to other agencies or Congress, even as the campaign has continued, killing at least 87 people in 22 attacks. The very act of sending survivors to other countries, as the administration did after the attack in mid-October, raised a fundamental question about the administration's premise for the strikes. If the administration has evidence to show that the people on the targeted boats are smuggling drugs and are a threat to Americans, then why is it not putting survivors on trial in U.S. courts? The administration has so far provided little info to public to support its assertions about who is on the boats they are carrying and where the vessels are headed. It relied on arguing that the boats it suspects of carrying drugs, most likely cocaine, if at all, and not the far deadlier fentanyl, pose an imminent threat to the U.S. Legal cases in the U.S. involving survivors would force the administration to present info to back up the rationale. The administration maintains is conducting a military operation in an armed conflict against drug cartels. Let me see. I'm trying to scoot through this real quick, too, because I think they're also got a current move where they're trying to get them to release the video, because the Trump administration is essentially... See if I can find the specific thing. Because, yeah, apparently, I guess if I can't find it, one of the other thing I really wanted to hone in on here is apparently they're working on some legislation that will cause... that would cause it so they would essentially force the Department of War to release this footage that they haven't been wanting to release. And the way they're essentially doing it is by essentially suspending Hegseth's travel pay, which, I mean, sounds petty, but I mean, that would really be fucking annoying. So far be it for me to particularly care about the bureaucratic things going on there, or to cheer for them in any way. But if that's the case, that's cool. That's weird. I wonder if I put it in the wrong spot. Nope, I'm not. I don't know. That's weird. Probably buried in that article, but I didn't want to subject you guys to the entire one. That was the only thing I wanted to get out of that. So now you guys know. Moving on to Ukraine. Ukraine will be ready to hold elections in... this is over at the Libertarian Institute. The crux of this story is, if you guys help us... That's essentially what the story is. It's Zelensky floating this out because they've been this kind of back and forth getting shit on by Trump. He's made some comments about, you should be doing elections, because it's kind of crazy. They've suspended elections for a long-ass time, and this is a whole democracy, this is what we're fighting for, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, they're not doing democracy. Not that I particularly care. It's actually kind of funny. Like, these elections could actually, funny enough, end up with a Nazi party because they're actually, I think one of the follow-up candidates that's very likely to get it is somehow associated with the Azov battalion or something like that, which is a pretty strong contingent over there, which, whatever, I don't particularly care, whatever. But one of the key aspects of this war that Russia has noted, part of why they're essentially their impetus for continuing the fight or whatever is a denazification. So I could only imagine if, after this war and then refusing to for peace, and then they actually do go through with election and a full-on Nazi party or something gets through, whatever you want to consider that, the modern-day version. I'm not saying literally Nazi, but you know what I mean. But that's going to give them Russia all the more reason to go, well, we're still going. We're going to keep this up. So. But yeah, then also the additional thing of if you help us, so he's still trying to squeeze more money out of us. It's this idea of still trying to keep us on the hook for it. We'll do the thing we're supposed to do if you give us money. And then with all that, we also have Zelensky ruling out ceding territory for the peace deal because they've been floating this back and forth, been talking about peace. It ain't happening. He says, we ain't ceding territory. It ain't happening. And speaking of a very similar such situation of another great democracy in the world, isn't democracy beautiful? Look how it works with our greatest ally. The IDF killed a 16-year-old boy in Gaza and ran his body over with a tank. Yeah. So This is the news agency said a Wafa correspondent reported the army shot 16-year-old Zahir Nasser Shamia from Jabalia refugee camp and then ran him over with a tank, splitting his body in half. Now, according to the Quds News Network, on a post, they said he returned with his family to live in Block 2 of Jabalia refugee camp along the so-called Yellow Line, referring to the vague boundary that separates the Israeli-occupied side of Gaza from the rest of the Strip. They reported that the Israeli force, made up of several military vehicles and bulldozers backed by infantry units, advanced several hundred meters beyond the Yellow Line. So these guys were living near the Yellow Line, this magical little Yellow Line. So it sounds like we have people living in some sort of settlements or whatever makeshift, I would assume, because Gaza's fucking destroyed. But we have some people living near the Yellow Line, and it sounds like the Israeli military just decided to say, fuck it, and we're moving a few hundred meters over, and if you're in the way, we're fucking killing you. The IDF said the two terrorists crossed the Yellow Line and said that its forces eliminated one of them. Okay, did the terrorists cross the Yellow Line, or did your Yellow Line cross the terrorists? Because it sounds like your Yellow Line is shifting all on its fucking own. Meanwhile, this is supposed to be a ceasefire. Another thing I think probably a little bit notable with all this going on, we've recent information's come out that apparently Palantir helped Israel carry out its pager attack in Lebanon. This is from a book on a biography of Palantir co-founder and CEO Alex Karp titled The Philosopher in the Valley. God, that's gay. No, he's not. He's a self-important fucking cokehead. Alex Karp, Palantir and the Rise of Surveillance State, was written by Michael Steinberger, a contributor to the New York Times Magazine. Steinberger wrote that Palantir's technology was deployed by Israelis during military operations in Lebanon in 2024 that decimated Hezbollah's top leadership. It was also used in Operation Grim Beeper, in which hundreds of Hezbollah fighters were injured and maimed when their pagers and walkie-talkies exploded. Yeah, which, by the way, when they say fighters, keep in mind they're broadly defining what Hezbollah is. Keep in mind, Hezbollah is actually far more wide-reaching than just a militia or terrorist organization as it's commonly portrayed. There's like people of all different trades and all different stuff. They're just I don't know exactly how it works, if it's kind of like a militia type guard type vibe. But yeah, I don't think it's a... For one, it's also the whether you like them or not, if you want to call them a terrorist organization, they're essentially the security apparatus of that area of Lebanon. So the idea that we just get to violently, pull this sort of stuff. For example, here's a photo. This is Nafa Awad, who was wounded in the attack. So she was someone who got bombed in it. There was a child that got bombed in it. These things went off at funerals, in public locations, And this is Palantir doing this stuff. Palantir, who has his dirty dick beaters, fucking elbow deep up the butthole of fucking Donald Trump. So a little rough, not looking great. And then to add to this paradigm, we have Hegseth saying AI is the future of American warfare as they're launching a new platform. So, this is going to tie into the main topic of today, this Goyslop hell we're running into. And speaking of Goy, keep repeating the line. There's no expansions in the West Bank. There's no expansion in the West Bank. Well, Israel approved a new settlement expansion in the West Bank. It announced that 800 new homes for Jewish settlers will be built in the occupied West Bank. Betzel Smotrich, I think it's Bezazel, whatever, has been pushing for more settlements in the West Bank aimed at creating the conditions for annexation. On Wednesday, Smotrich's office gave final approval for the building of 764 housing units in 3 settlements in the occupied West Bank. The statement added that over 51,000 new settlement homes in the West Bank have been approved since Smotrich joined the government in 2022. But Zionist conservatives just keep repeating the line. There are no settlements. Israel will not build settlements in the West Bank. They are. They have been. The way this game is played too is for one, it's ridiculous on its face because this is, from my literally the most official of we're doing the settlement. Whereas how this game usually works, it's this spectrum of state to private where they kind of hide the ball and they go, oh, well, we're not. They're just letting it happen, or maybe even silently supporting it behind the back. And then these settlers come in and they settle, and they always on areas that have already been cleared out by Israel and already put minor infrastructure. And then here comes a settlement of Israelis. Who would have thought? Ooh! And then next thing you know, after they've been there for a while, we can't make them leave. That'd be crazy. And then we go, oh, we're making some settlements. And so this is again, they kind of they slide it from private to public to where you don't even notice it, and that's why you have these retards that just kind of act like it never happened because they just pretend it's the boiling pot effect. And these guys know though, but they're playing the game. They know. They just go, oh, there's no settlements in the West Bank. Just repeat line. Just keep saying it. Keep saying it. It'll make it real. Just keep saying it. Keep saying it. With all this too, we got 1,000 Zionist pastors from the U.S. visiting Israel on a trip funded by the Israeli Foreign Ministry. I'd recommend you guys go check that out online. There's some crazy quotes from that. For example, let me see if I can find. I think see if they have any of the quotes from what's his face. Let me see. Here we go. Here is Mike Huckabee. He says, "You said that the policy of the administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel. Mr. Vice President," it is, once again, I literally just showed you, "we love you and we love America, but the policy of the God who birthed America and the policy of the God who gave these people this land is in fact that Judea and Samaria is Bible land." Oh, we're just Bible land, just making up fictional area, Bible land. And Bible Man is their superhero in that area. You guys ever watch that show? That was a fun one. I used to watch that. He says 80% of Bible stories come out of Judea and Samaria, so don't pressure Israel to give illegal radical Islam Jew haters Judea and Samaria. And he said, adding that the MAGA movement is based on the Bible and upon the God of this book, the God of Israel. So just repeat the line, guys. There are no settlements in the West Bank. But if there was, it's a good thing because it's Bible land. And last story in this foreign policy milieu. That's always a fun word. We have, dang, this stupid ad thing. Get out of my way. Oh, no. What just, oh, there we go. No, go away. The Guardian's trying to get me to support it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can't figure this out. Oh, we're good. Never mind. My bad. It brought up a separate tab. You guys aren't seeing what I was just seeing. All right, here we go. Tourists to U.S. would have to reveal 5 years of social media activity under new Trump plan. Now, this is the sort of stuff, exactly what I'm talking about, where I go, yeah, I think I might be open borders now. Like, I don't know. How many fucking times do I have to daily see immigration stories in the foreign policy section? Particularly, let's be real. What is this for? What is this for? I mean, like, sure, I guarantee you there's probably all sorts of conservatives out there arguing, if they were to argue, they'd be like, well, we don't want any dangerous yada, yada, yada. If we'll see in the social media as a terrorist, then we can... is that what's really happening? I'd be like, I probably could fucking Fed post as hard as Crooks did or any of the other friggin' glowies out there and probably be able to get from one to the other. But you say nary a word about Israel... I mean, think about it. How many of you guys think that you under this system, you would be able to come to your own country if you weren't a citizen of this country? I mean, and this is for tourists, by the way. This is for tourist visas. This is 5 years of social media activity under the new Trump plan. Great. Isn't it great? Isn't it great? Great stuff, guys. Just wonderful. Let's roll the chat and we'll say our good mornings, then we'll get into the global MK-Epstein. Let's check in. Uncle Ted says, I'm a Kalshi graphic designer. Okay, cool. Good morning, Doc Shelley. He says, Top Pops needs to move back to Pakistan. Okay. What else we got? Let me see. Good morning, Shaz and Corfield. Good to see you here. Rate cuts for the greatest economy ever. What gaslight BS? Yep. Good morning, Alien Big Cat. How long you been on? Only 43 minutes so far. It's only about 45 minutes. I'm just getting the main topics. You're here at a good time. You're here at a good time. What else we got? Let me see. Who else we got in here? Shadows again. Mexico is 91% Christian, 78% Catholic, and not known for women's rights. Yet a Jewish female was elected president. Isn't that weird? Wasn't there something like 20 plus people who died in that election too? Crazy stuff. Weird stuff. Democracy is a fickle god. Is a fickle god, right? Almost the god that failed, if you will. Good morning. Aggressively agreeing. Good morning. Says, I am convinced Israel attacked themselves in 10-7 to pave the way to the settlement expansion. You know what? I actually had some stuff. Old Boltzmann Booty is a account I follow. He found a Although I don't think it was originally him. I think it was from an article that he found it from. But I do have some stuff bookmarked. I thought maybe I'd squeeze that in there, maybe tomorrow. There has been some more information. There's been more sources saying, agreeing with, corroborating what you literally just said, aggressively agreeing. So 7K, Israel has a right to defend itself. Got to throw that out there. Cha-ching. Guys, I got a renovation going. It's hard stuff. Good morning, Marty. Says Jose here reminding me of the Seinfeld no water pressure episode. Too deep of a cut, bud. I don't get that one. What else we got? Good morning, Real John Doe. I think it's the first time seeing you. Says Sky Daddy Nonsense. Says I watch Dave DeCamp every day, but Jose doing the anti-war podcast in TG mode is better. Thank you. I appreciate that. I obviously I think Dave does a better job, but I could see why people might like my version a little bit more. I get it, but gotta respect the real ones. He's who I'm getting it from. Good morning, Conrail. Good morning, retardo. Good morning. He says Seinfeld on Netflix. It's the show. All right. 37 candidates were killed by cartels. Holy shit! I didn't know it was 37. Says Shadows in the Cornfield. Here's Conrail. Says a tourist plan by the Trump administration is why conservatives and libertarians that advocate for strict borders ought to rethink the border policies they've been pushing for. Yes, that and a whole slew of a bunch of other things. Like the one I've brought, the example I've liked to bring up a bunch of times is the one guy who came here whose visa got revoked for stuff after the fact. So like, even though they're not doing the social media thing they're already doing where they're looking for stuff. They're just trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Make it, make it, systematized, I guess. They're making it, part of the process, essentially, is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it part of the process where it's like, now it's not only, because before it'd be like, I guess kind of, willy-nilly if they want to, probably, they could probably dig in deeper. Whereas now, sounds like they're trying to make it like, no, you will check the social media of every single one of these people who apply for a visa. So yeah, as opposed to just pulling like I feel like it. So, rough stuff. All right, let's move into the main topic of the day. Let's start off with this from Sally Agaris. Says Trump has 9 days to release Epstein files where he's in violation of Thomas Massey's Epstein Transparency Act. Well, it's 8 days now because this was from yesterday. So just a little bit letting you guys know the clock is ticking down. Now, do I think we're going to get all these things and stuff? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. So, like, this countdown, it's not like, I'm saying, everything will be revealed. I'm just saying this is when, like, okay, that's when it's like, time's up, bitch. Like, what's going on? That's what that is. And kind of coming along with all that, I guess we're getting, not only will begin those Epstein files, but we'll also be getting some Ghislaine Maxwell files. Here we have a judge told that DOJ unseal the Ghislaine Maxwell grand jury records before Congress has passed a law. Essentially, they're including these with it. So the new Epstein Files Transparency Act overrides the usual secrecy rules, so the DOJ must release a massive trove of transcripts, documents, and investigative material by December 19th. So we'll also be getting that stuff to add to this trove. The identities will be redacted, as always, but so... looking like we'll be getting that dropping too, perhaps. We'll see. But we also did have about a week ago, we had new images and stuff from Epstein Island. I figured we'd watch this video together a little bit, maybe put it on 2X or something, because I know I really did find this. I watched some of this video on my own earlier, and something about this, it just, sorry for the audio people, you probably won't get, I'm not going to try to narrate everything we're seeing. So you'll just have to accept there's going to be a few minutes of dead space. But yeah, there's something about this. Just if you add into just all of it, and I'm going to also show you some images from inside the house here in a bit, and just something about it just really sets the vibe. It really feels like Dionysian, like very like Mount Olympus, but with degeneracy. Like it feels creepy. I don't even really know how to explain it. I don't have the proper words for it. But I think you kind of get an idea of all these massages and these people, these high-powered people, and you kind of get a picture of what was going on here just by kind of seeing is believing. So I mean, obviously we can't see these people and the acts they did, nor would I really want to, but something about the setting says a lot. And there's no audio before if anyone tries to say anything on audio. The audio is out right now. I'll fix it whenever we do get actual audio in a later thing, but yeah. And right now it's not like too crazy, but like something about this main courtyard area, or I don't know if you would say a courtyard or. You see like these little, I don't know, bathhouses or bathrooms or something over here. We see the pool. Some other room. And look at this statue. Like, remember what I told you guys the other day, or I haven't told you. I think I've told you a few times, and I already did in the morning dump. I don't remember which it was. We played that one clip from the Jake Shields show where the one guy dropped all that knowledge about slavery and essentially how the person who owned these islands, initially, I guess, owned these islands back in the 1600s, was the world's largest slave trader, and they took up residence in these chain of islands. One of which I forget the name of this island, was it like Little Maria or some, I forget, Little St. James. It's like the smaller island of, I think the big one, I think it's called like Big James or something, or James. And that, I think that's the one where the guy lived at, and his family and his gender. So point being, it's kind of like, I mean, obviously we don't know. I mean, things get sold, things move hands. But it paints a weird picture, especially paint even weirder when we get into some of the MK Ultra stuff. Makes you wonder, what have they been doing on these islands for a long time now? There's a helipad down there, I think. It's not too crazy sinister, but just something about it. I know it's creepy. You imagine this with people and all sorts of weird stuff going on. And it's kind of a beautiful setting, too. Now we're inside the house. We're in a room. This one's nothing weird. This is a sauna room, it looks like. That's pretty pimping, actually. But, I mean, obviously this could be weird. But this could just be a luxurious little bath area. But it also could be a place where creepy stuff happens. Oh, what did that say? All right, now we're getting into the images. Let me see. Let me bring this down to 0.25. So here's a phone. I don't know why they're showing that. You can see what's on it. You see New York office, dark and off, Darren's cell, Rich office, Mike's cell, redacted cell, Patrick's cell, redacted office, Larry's cell, kitchen. Then all the different ones. The other ones don't matter. All right, let's keep going. And then this is one of the creepier ones. You see this one. This is the dental room. You see all this mat. Now this is where we're getting into some weird, creepy stuff right here. Really, I mean, you kind of tie all these things together and you realize, oh shit, this is weird. Now see all these different faces on the wall, these masks, and a dental chair. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe some people have it. I mean, anyone who's been a degenerate in their life, looked at like the P stuff, the porn or whatever. You've been flicking through, seen thumbnails, see some weird fucking bondage. That is like what comes to mind. Some Eyes Wide Shut, perhaps, like weird, creepy, over the top bondage, and you add in the other darker elements of the people that were here, the ages of the. You go, oh my god, little what the fuck, a lot what the fuck. This is another room. This one's not that weird. It's actually kind of a nice room. I don't think anything notable in that room. Another nice room. There's another room. Some no trespassing sign. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a sick library. I gotta say that is a pimpin' ass library. I'm sure there's some dark shit in there though. I'll have to zoom in on that whiteboard. Another one. I can't with the video because I know there was some weird stuff on this whiteboard in this whatever this room is. Oh, showing us now. You can see power, deception. It's just weird stuff. It's almost like they're doing a math equation with, which perhaps maybe they were. Maybe that's what we see is some sort of math equation using, kind of social movements. Essentially, is what it sounds like. Power, deception. What do I see? Plants. Kind of hard to read. I see music, time minus something. It is kind of hard to make out a lot of this stuff, but this is what's on the whiteboard in his like study area. So what kind of makes you wonder who the fuck he was talking to when he was doing that. They didn't show the main area. We'll have to find that over in here. The New York Times. Here's the New York Times. They did a piece where Democrats released images of Epstein private home. Let's see if I can't find the main area as one that's other creepy. Let me see. What the hell? Okay, well, actually, here it is. I guess I'll present these a little out of order. I assume this would have been in the article, but this is the one I'm talking about. You look at this. This is what it was on the main area. Look at this art. Look at this creepy-ass art. And then also, I think the decor is worthwhile if you're... once again, these are dots. Draw the lines as you will, but something about this is like a Gilded Age type vibe. A lot of people have already said this looks kind of like Trump even, too. I mean, obviously, that's reaching, but... I don't know, just the vibes from this are very, very ugh. But kind of, he did have a creepy art collection too. But anyone disturbed by this photo right here, you very well should. Now we're also looking at another one of Epstein's art images. This is Amber Speaks Up. I've pulled content from her plenty of times. Go check her out. Go follow her on Twitter. It says Epstein mocked his targets and the world through his art collection. He displayed one of the pipelines in plain sight. Girls on a stage seemingly being judged in a swimwear competition. I actually thought this was a picture at first, and I was like, oh, God, what is this? No, this is... I mean, it's still gross either way. It's a painting. He didn't think anyone would ever put the messages together, but he was wrong. This painting is called Little Miss Pink Tomato, and it belonged to Epstein. Survivors describe seeing it. Just like the blue dress Clinton portrait in the walls of staring soldier eyes, it wasn't just decor. It was strategic staging and psychological manipulation. The painting is currently listed for sale by a New York auction house. It seems to me anyone who purchases it should require a background check. She goes, art became part of intelligence programs during the Cold War. When the U.S. government established the CIA in 1947, it included a division known as the Propaganda Assets Inventory, a branch of psychological warfare intended to boost pro-American messaging. They studied the psychological impacts of art. Then continuing on this, kind of tying these things together. Well, what was this art being used for? Was it used to meld the mind? Well, now we're talking MK-Ultra. MK-Ultra was an illegal CIA human experimentation program which ran from 1953 to 1973 when it was supposedly shut down. Jeffrey Epstein began working in 1974. She says, stick with me. Don't let the drip greases distract you. MK-Ultra wasn't just one location. It was a network. The CIA intentionally spread experiments across the U.S. and abroad so no single institution could see the full picture. There were over 80 universities, hospitals, and labs where the experiments were conducted. The studies were often framed as psychology, psychiatry, or pharmacology research. What would be worse than exposing a pedophile network for the government? Institutions involved in MKUltra experiments? The top three happened to be institutions where Epstein had walk-on access even post-conviction. He'd established relationships with professors, researchers, scientists, and an entire network of scientific knowledge. Harvard, MIT, Columbia University. We're actually going to go even deeper in this. Not only that, even from the money side of things with the Wexner stuff and his, how he was controlling things. Like he was literally being the financial mover that was causing, that was making things happen behind the scenes with the Wexner money. As Epstein, essentially. Essentially, he's cut out almost, with the power of attorney. So effectively, from the outside, it looks like everything was a Wexner, whatever, work. Epstein didn't just fund science. In fact, many of the large donations he bragged about weren't true. Science philanthropist was part of an elaborate cover. He embedded himself in the same behavioral science infrastructure that intelligence agencies use for covert influence, and human subject research. The infrastructure Epstein embedded himself in, it was elite behavioral science, neuro research, AI, psychiatry, genetics, all eerily similar to the infrastructure intelligence agencies used for illegal psychological and neurological experimentation. Epstein used vulnerable subjects for conditioning, training, and placement, feeding him intel from within science, institutions, and even the Gates ecosystem. He staged his properties for psychological conditioning and control. People often forget Epstein did not build his network from scratch. 1 second, stupid thing loading. The math teacher without a college degree from middle-class Coney Island does not suddenly acquire a global web of intelligence cutouts, billionaires, diplomats, scientists, presidential families, and medical school pipelines. It doesn't work like that. He was positioned. He's inherited access. Doors were open for him long before he became a household name. Because MK-Ultra wasn't just about LSD. It was about reshaping human behavior at a biological, neurological, and psychological level. Epstein's interest followed the same arc. 2 generations later, population genetics, eugenics, hereditary intelligence, selective breeding, engineered reproduction, improving the human species, and building a future superior lineage. Where all these things are kind of weirdly going to tie into the next topic as well. He openly discussed seeding the human race at Zorro Ranch. He hosted scientists and researchers who could further his interests. This wasn't eccentricity. They want you to believe it was just about Epstein. It wasn't. This is ideological continuity. According to survivor and witness accounts, Epstein often compared girls and women to breeding stock and evaluated their bodies like a breeder, not a partner. He bragged about optimizing bloodlines, spoke about women the way breeders speak about animals. The mama race dog comment is used as a reproductive vessel because she had good genes is not random. This is historical language used in circles interested in eugenics and selective breeding almost verbatim, which once again, to my slavery point for, the if you look to antiquity of where he was at and kind of connect the little dots, a little weird. This language directly parallels the era of Cold War behavioral science when psychologists, biologists, and CIA-backed researchers were grappling with heredity, intelligence, conformity, obedience, and provable human traits. In MKUltra's era, U.S. and international agencies pursued sterilization programs, psychiatric improvement initiatives, intelligent quotients, interventions, mind control conditioning experiments on heredity and susceptibility. Sit with that for a second. Epstein owned multiple properties, never in his name, but through shell companies, and they had purpose. Zorro Ranch was an isolated genomic site, a reproductive hub, a possible place for engineered offspring. His islands, remote and secure locations for circumventing legal testing restrictions. He planned on sequencing biological data in the virgin in a controlled population. And here's Nick Hinton, oh, geez, this guy follows me. Oh, shit, that's nice. That's cool. I'll follow him back. This guy's got 120,000 followers. Just realized he's following me. That's cool. But he says, the more I hear about Epstein's occultism and his ties to Trump, the more I am convinced we are being forced to watch intentionally traumatic political theater. It's like King in Yellow, a cursed play that drives the reader insane as it reveals forbidden knowledge to them, which so are we, collectively being MK Ultra. It sure seems so. They're working down the individual level and up to the tippy top as well. Let's get into now to finish off this this bit. Old drop site news, who has been absolutely crushing it over here, is Murtaza Hussein. It says new leaked emails show that Jeffrey Epstein sat at the head of a powerful financial empire built to funnel money to promote Israeli interests in the United States. Epstein had power of attorney over the fortune of billionaire Lex Wexner, but his emails reveal he was also the shot caller in his powerful philanthropic foundation, which has channeled hundreds of millions of dollars to Israel-linked causes in America over the past several decades. The Wexner Foundation has claimed that internal reviews showed that Epstein was merely an absentee trustee and had no meaningful role in the foundation's budget or finances. But correspondence from Epstein's Yahoo inbox show that he acted as a de facto chief financial officer for the foundation, making major decisions about taxes, lines of credits, large fund transfers, and politically sensitive grants. The Wexner Foundation is one of the most powerful Israel lobby groups in the U.S. between 2003 to 2018, after Epstein resigned in 2007 and before his death. The foundation gave over $128.4 million to pro-Israel causes in the U.S., making the third largest donor to such causes during that period. This is from Murtaza Hussein and Ryan Grimm. I'd recommend you guys go check this piece out. I'll probably go check this out on my own. Not going to read it with you guys today because we have plenty more to go through. Let's pop back into the chat and check out what you guys got to say. Yeah. So then before we get into our transhumanist Goyslop hell. Good morning, Farm Girl. So it seems like they're normalizing the police state for foreigners who come here, and then it will go domestic. Sure does. Bug fights. I'm sorry, man. I understand all these theoretical arguments that hold true principles, but we have a state, and we have to shut the border. That's not an argument. So, I mean, I don't know. That's a nothing. That's a nothingism. I love you, brother, but that is. I mean, we have a state is not, yes, we do. And as I've said before, it compounds the problem. Like, I understand, like, there are issues that come with immigration. I just think it literally makes the problem worse doing all this, as I've been seeing and covering. And, yeah. Hearing audio not good? Damn it. Let me see. Man, let me check, make sure I have the right audio. Yeah, I'm on my, Shure. Huh. Okay, never mind. Conroe's thing was just on his end. All right, cool. Good morning, Bobo. Good morning. Good morning. A nice tower in the chat. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, PJR. It's out walking. Nice. Go run. Pick it up the pace. Make it a good workout. Oh, you're walking in the city. Okay. If they run, they might think you stole something. What else we got in here? Who paid for the ships thing is real. Yeah, big facts. Bug fights, big facts. Expecting more drains for the blood sacrifices. Yeah. Laurel and Hardy above the window, says Shows in Cornfield. I don't know that reference. Who else we got in here? Good morning, Evil Bull Weevil. Power/music plus question mark equals profit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think that was one of the things on there. Most fucked up episode of MTV Cribs ever. Yeah, for sure. Libertarianism doesn't account for the state attacking your culture with a shittier one. I think it does. I think it's been proving out that this idea, like, if you just kind of game theory it out, I really think like the idea that like the energy of putting into more immigration controls and how it inevitably is going to play out, it's going to make things worse. And you're literally enabling the state to essentially siphon off more money. So, like, it has, read Democracy of the God That Fails. I know, funny enough, they actually in there, he makes an appeal for that. But he literally makes the argument in there how ineffective the state is. Like, they are incentivized to, like, when they're providing security, to give you the, essentially the worst product for the most amount of money. That is literally incentives. And so you're giving them another thing. The idea, you have two options here. You can go towards more state control or less state control. I know it almost sounds like a dumb binary, but it really is. And if you understand incentives, if you go towards more state control, asking for immigration controls, they are going to give you a shitty product that costs a fuckload, an absolute fuckload. So it's literally going to cost more than it's worth. Like, it's literally is like, yes, you can say like, okay, maybe there's an argument why you should, okay, sure, but this is going to cost more than it's worth. It's just going to. Like, if you understand economics, if you understand the state, if you understand game theory, it's going to cost more than it's worth. And it's clearly presenting itself as, I don't know how much more clear it could be. It's literally playing on real time. I mean, I think, what was it? We were covering this show. The budget of ICE is fucking insane. And it's like, and then you have people all the time complaining they're not doing. So even if you do buy into this bordertarian logic or whatever the hell, even then they're taking a shitload of your money and then not doing what they said they were going to do. So it's like literally better off not doing it. So you're like, oh no, the borders will be open. Like, yeah, sure, maybe they would be. I don't really fucking care. Stop the warfare, stop the welfare. The problem will go away. So I don't know. I mean, whatever. I know it sounds some like what is it? The shit lib, not shit lib. Was it? What do they make fun of? Lolbert type thing? But I don't know. I mean, I've been someone who's been agnostic. I've kind of been torn on it. I was kind of like, well, I don't know. I've kind of evaluated both arguments. I don't know. For one, it literally is just the dumb argument of look before you, behold. I don't even really need to make a theory argument. It's pretty clear at this point, I think. But whatever. Sorry. State created the problem, they can solve the problem. No, that's the problem. Just because the state created the problem, this is what dialectics is. They create a problem, and then they solve the problem. You're literally leading into dialectics. They create a problem, they solve the problem. They're aware of this. That's what dialectics is. They create a problem, they solve it. I know it sucks. You're like, I don't want to have to solve their problem. And you kind of like don't really have to some extent because you can kind of do your own thing. But like the idea of being like, well, you should create more problems then. Like that's all you're saying. Like this is a problem creator. Like there's a problem creator. And then we go, we should give them more power to create more problems because they create a problem. They should fix a problem. They're not going to fucking fix a problem. They're not going to fix a problem. Like, they're just not. Like, I mean, whatever. You can wish in one hand and whatever in the other and, see which fills up quicker. I forget what the fucking expression is. Want. It's wish in one hand and want in the other. Or shit in one hand and want in the other. That's what my grandma used to always say. That old whore. Sorry if you watch this, grandma, but you did have like 5 different baby daddies. But yeah. Good morning, Gerald. Says anyone said free Palestine or Jose is handsome? I've heard of Jose handsome. Well, not specifically Jose handsome, but they did like the same sentiment. They described how handsome I was. So, have I ever seen the videos from Assange? The Green Berets murdered a lot of innocent people. Oh, is this like your angle with Valhalla? I'm not denying Green Berets did awful things, and Valhalla may have as well. I don't know what you're getting at. I haven't seen those ones though, but I believe it. I mean, I believe you. Yeah, Green Berets they do fucked up shit, but like, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes people think, herder, I'm doing the right thing, and then realize like, oh shit. So I don't know. I haven't really followed his content enough to really know what his perspective is on what he did when he was in. So people change their minds though. So I don't know. Tom says if there are too many immigrants here because they came here by their own means, I would agree with you, Jose, but the state literally brought most of them here. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. And so they should stop doing that. So like the idea of like, well, then you send them like, they're going to make it worse. They're going to not send back the right ones. They're going to cost. It's going to be literally more costly than what it's worth. Like I mean, whatever. I mean, you can. It just is kind of whatever. Fall for it again. I don't know what to say. It's just kind of at this point. I don't really know. It just kind of is pretty obvious. I don't know what to say, but it is whatever. So yes, the state did bring them. I'm aware. They shouldn't. I definitely don't advocate for that. The whole, this is what everyone brings up. Well, the state, okay, yes, I'm aware. So what, you're just going to fall into a dialectical trap? Whatever. I mean, I don't know. I can keep saying this, but you genuinely believe we have a better shot of using the state than abolishing? You are correct. You have a better shot of but do you have a better shot of actually solving the problem? No, the reason you have a better shot of using the state is because the state wants you to use the state. like they're like, yeah, beg for more ice. So whatever. I mean, we'll see. Conrail says now would be a good time for libertarians to be advocating creating voluntary border security or something like. It wouldn't be perfect for sure, but at least you still have your liberty. Yep. Beret at Fort Bragg, and he trained every terrorist you ever heard of. It's just Shadow's cornfield. Take your word for it. If you're gonna sue me, it's him, not me. So, all right, guys, let's get into Transhumanist Goyslop. Hell, this is one I've been sitting on for a while. I'm excited. I hope I don't flub it up. To kind of start it off, here is the old orange Cheeto man. I've heard Mango Mussolini, a little too boomerish for my likes. I need to come up with a new term for him that's not tainted by the Pedodon. Maybe Pedodon. That's a good one. We'll go Pedodon. We got Pedodon. He's signing an executive order streamlining and slashing AI regulations nationwide to prevent AI from being destroyed in its infancy. There's Trump over on his Truth Social. Actually, I don't know if it's Truth. Now I think it is. I think that's a Truth symbol. I think I've heard he's back on Twitter now, although I haven't really been paying attention. So I felt like I heard someone say that before. So I don't know if all these are. It didn't really matter anymore. It was now that he's on, he's not on. If he is on Twitter, it's kind of irrelevant. Really, what was the interesting time if he was going to get off was during the campaign, which whatever. So he said there must be only one rule book if we're going to continue to lead in AI. We are beating all countries at this point in the race, but that won't last long if we're going to have 50 states, many of them bad actors involved in rules in the approval process. There can be no doubt about this. AI will be destroyed in its infancy. I'll be doing one rule executive order this week. You can't expect a company to get 50 approvals every time they want to do something. That will never work. So this is in response to a lot of these different states that are getting kind of sick of this AI shit because knowing what it's going to cost. We've got, I haven't really covered it enough on this show, but they got all these I guess these AI server, whatever the fuck farms or whatever the hell, and they're costing all sorts of energy in certain areas, and that cost is getting offloaded to the consumer by the electricity companies, and so people are seeing their prices go up. And also there's a little bit of creepiness with the way the market is leaning so into this, and this is getting framed as all the time as some sort of free market activity, when in fact we have hundreds of millions of dollars being dumped into AI by the literal state. So yeah, I mean, they have their finger on the pulse so fucking hard. This is basically pure fascism trying to be sold as free market activity, and this idea of like, oh well, we can't be instituting laws, and like, well, I'm not really the law guy here. It's like, it is also like, well, I mean it is in response to another. So the idea that you're going to like restrict these and do that, it seems a little ridiculous. It seems, why are you behaving like this? Are you that worried about your AI? I think there's a good chance it's probably going to capsize. This isn't going to work out like they think it will. But either way, they're clearly protecting the bag super hard. And this is, I think that maybe this is a little bit related. Perhaps here's Nick Hinton again. He said this is something I feel like is really going to tie into this topic, and I think you'll see why. It says David Koresh, the leader of the Christian cult involved in the infamous Waco siege, used to show his followers the movie The Lawnmower Man because it believed it symbolized his transformation into a biblical Messiah. However, this movie has little to do with Christianity. In the film, scientists trick a mentally disabled gardener into becoming the test subject of an experiment that will supposedly increase his intelligence using a combination of virtual reality and psychedelics. However, things go terribly wrong when the gardener becomes an evil telepathic genius. So he attempts to achieve the ultimate stage of evolution by turning into a digital being made of pure energy. Then he tries to take over the whole world by merging with the internet. In short, David Koresh was a Christian who wanted to transform into a transhumanist god. Apparently, he became obsessed with this idea after he had a vision of angelic aliens taking him to the city of God on a flying saucer. This city was in outer space, past the Orion constellation, where God was revealed to be a supercomputer. So David wanted to become one with God by becoming one with technology. Nevertheless, like the many cult leaders who came before him, it seems David was like the gardener he empathized with. In other words, it seems David was a test subject of an MK-Ultra experiment. It also seems David was only a prototype of the kinds of people the current apocalyptic psyops will produce. And we now have transhumanist Christians controlling the White House, and even the current leader of David's old cult believes Donald Trump is their new savior. Is this why Trump picked Waco for his first rally in 2024? Maybe that one might be a stretch, but it is interesting how into transhumanism Koresh apparently was. That's kind of nuts, especially if you've been following this channel long enough. You know, me and Austin have done a good little dive on that way back in the day. I think it's called Waco Weirdness, if you want to go check it out, an old episode. We got into some of the more, I guess you could say the more salacious researcher stuff out there, the ones that, because we did your normal kind of, I think it was like a Waco anniversary. We did one episode where we went deep into that, but we kept it semi-respectable. And then we went, all right, there's some other wild things out there that have, differing levels of credibility to them that kind of go off the beaten path of like, hey, it's not cool to murder people type, gets a little more complicated. Seems there might have been something more going on type stuff. And there's some wild things there. And makes you wonder, especially when we see stuff like this, what the fuck is going on? And this will make you wonder. Actually, here's a video on to kind of preface the rest of this segment, and I think you'll see why. Oh my God! Give me a second. Give me a second. Of course. StreamYard shit the bed. Give me a moment. I only changed over like one screen, and it already shit the bed. All right, now we're bringing it back up. Sorry. One day the show will get big enough while our producer sits in the back and does all the clickety-clicking so that it doesn't fuck up every time and I can somehow keep a smooth flow. But we're not there yet. Give me more money. Feed my algo. By the way, I did just reapply for monetization for YouTube. I figured out how, so we'll see how that works. Fingers crossed. We'll see if YouTube's way is less gay than they used to be. Maybe we can get back to getting super chats. That'd be nice. But you can always support me. We're at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. Enjoy this clip. I think this perfectly sets the stage for this segment.
The way that a Gen Z person might is, let's just use you as an example. Somebody comes up and says, hey man, I love your podcast. And they say, I have a serious question for you though. Would you consider yourself a patriot? Now I've got you locked into identity. And then I say, well, I have an offer for you, but before I show you anything, I just want you to say yes or no. Would you be willing to entertain the offer? And it might be uncomfortable. Stage one is I show you all of your browsing history, captures from your webcams on all of your phones and computers of you doing the most compromising shit you could ever possibly imagine. And I'd say, I like your podcast. I think you're doing a great job and I want to protect you. I want to keep all this from the public eye. We also want to give you $20,000 a month. So now you feel like you chose. I told you it was going to be stressful and you agreed to it. If you say yes, the reason that you're doing this on your podcast is for your country, because you're not going to call yourself compromised. We have this thing called cognitive dissonance that keeps our brain from thinking I'm a bad person. Even though you're being asked to silence people, not have certain people on the show, leave something out of your podcast, you're telling yourself, and whoever's your handler is telling you this is for the greater good, and you kept Americans safe by doing that. And you'll tell yourself that, and you'll feel good about it.
What happens if I say no?
What happens if I say no? Well, you remember Rogan's N-word tape? Well, get ready for the Jose Goon tape. I joke, but this is actually legitimately terrifying. But I like to think that if this ever happened, but if you guys ever see me going crazy off the beaten path or start wondering, perhaps they got to me. Because yeah, I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'd say most people, if they'd search deep down within themselves, there is stuff that even if let's say this person is actually somehow being honest and they're not somehow manipulating you and finding things that are out of context or whatever, they can totally find shit probably from your stuff. They probably could dig your internet stuff all the way back to when you were a kid, when you were in high school, being an idiot, doing dumb shit, and I'm sure they could probably create enough of a folder to, for most people, I'd say probably well over 90% of people, they could compile enough personal information that people would find embarrassing or whatever, that they would no, I'm out, or do whatever thing it is you need, whatever push it is, that's what's happening. So just kind of think about this, and that this is a real thing, and bear in mind, especially with the rise of these new influencers, the new individuals, it is great that we have, it's less corporate, but with that, I mean, we're more individuals. So these guys, while I'm not saying that by having a large podcast that you therefore obviously compromise, but to some degree, you got to realize the Rogans, the whatever, anybody that's really a name that comes to your mind, they're basically lapping the corporate media right now. So you kind of have to ask yourself, of someone of that size, have they not been talked to? Makes you wonder. But let's keep moving. I think you'll see where I'm getting at. For example, here's Boltzmann Booty saying, Rogan went on a Teal Employees podcast and inserted that Jesus might be resurrected via AI. Here's what he said. He says, Jesus was born of a virgin mother. What's more virgin than a computer? If Jesus does return, you don't think he'd return as an artificial intelligence? AI could absolutely return as Jesus. And here's more of his psychobabbling. Remember a while back when I kind of was like, oh, dude, Rogan's compromised. It's over. It's a wrap. I mean, like, there's always been, like, maybe, but it was like, this was solid. The representative, the Anna Paulina Luna episode, I'm sorry. He's compromised. The end. You watch that episode, especially if you see it in the context of the time it dropped, that was more revealing to me than even the Cash episode. Because even the Cash Patel episode, he did kind of give a little flaccid pushback of asking questions. Nope. Anna Paulina Luna, Mrs. Truth, whatever, fucking conspiracy broad or whatever, all the truthy, squad, leader. Supposedly the one running the running point for the JFK files, all these different files are dropping, and we had Epstein was the hottest thing right now, and she was part of essentially attached to the administration of the HIP that was doing crazy amounts of lying And they did psychobabble about Enoch and other fucking shit like that for however the fuck long. Well, here's him. Let's see. Here's him. Like, remember, I was kind of like, well, I don't know, maybe this or that. Well, no, he seemed to have drank the Kool-Aid. So here you go. Oh, and also on top of that, she was fucking retarded. It was so uninteresting, and she was so dumb, and it was just like, oh my God. And everyone, it was this weird gaslighting that happened online. I mean, maybe I'm just someone who doesn't get dazzled by beautiful women. Not that she's like really even all that beautiful. I mean, she's pretty. But she's fucking stupid. She's dumb. She's not interesting. She doesn't present things in a fun way. She's stupid, and she's just kind of somewhat pretty. That's about it. So... And I kind of refuse to believe that Rogan's that dumb. I think he's a little dumb, but I don't think he's that dumb. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Give me a second. Sorry. Let me fix this up again. Sorry. The video dropped again because it do be like that sometimes. All right. Let's go ahead and play this. Here you go.
Rep Luna. She came on my podcast too, and she was telling me some stuff that was just like mind blowing. And she really got me to read the Book of Enoch. She's like, you got to read that.
So you have the Ethiopian Orthodox text, which has, I think, 88 books of the Bible in total. But in the Ethiopian Orthodox text, it's basically kind of like a mainline OG version of the Bible. And then sometime in the 4th century, there was actually a group that came together and they removed certain books. And the story goes that Revelations actually had replaced Enoch. And so it's interesting because when you're looking kind of full circle and, you hear the stuff that some of these people are talking about, and then you see and you read the Book of Enoch, which is a wild read, okay? And then you look at kind of what our modern day description is of what angels and entities are versus what Enoch was seeing and reporting in his language and ability at the time. I think that there's a lot that brings you to then ask the question, well, why would they remove this information? If it's truly, written in the oldest Bible in the world, why would they then take it out?
And that could have easily been attached to the religious canon. But some rabbis disagreed with it because it didn't vibe with the Torah. So like, let's chuck that one out. But it's in the same lump of Dead Sea Scrolls as they have the Book of Isaiah, which is really fascinating because Wes Huff, when he was on my podcast, explained to me that the Book of Isaiah and that they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls is verbatim the same as the Book of Isaiah that was 1,000 years more recent.
Whoa. Guys, they're going to give you Jesus slop. They're going to give you transhumanist Jesus slop and tell you, don't you love God? No, just come on, give us your soul.
1,000 years. So this was the oldest version that they thought was the oldest version. And then they found the Dead Sea Scrolls version, which was 1,000 years older, verbatim. Fascinating. And the Book of Enoch's in there.
There you go.
Like, what are they talking about? What are you talking about? The Watchers came down and they mated with humans and they created a race that was a giant race that destroyed everything and consumed.
By the way, I'm not saying this stuff isn't somewhat interesting, but for one, it's not that interesting. And I also am kind of like, really, Rogan? The idea that he's like jumping so hard, it's like, dude, this is stuff I feel like you knew about already, but whatever.
Everything. That sounds like us. Doesn't that sound like us? If you're some flimsy, tiny alien thing with no musculature and a large head, and you make giants, you make football players, you make marauding Vikings, that are just showing up in boats and hacking everybody to pieces. That's how you would describe them.
Yep.
You would describe them giants that destroyed everything.
Yes.
It's all very weird stuff, man.
And Enoch himself goes through this amazing personal transformation where he goes up to heaven, he walks with God, and then he turns into Metatron. That's part of kind of a celestial ascent tradition. So you have celestial ascent traditions and various traditions, and the wheels of Ezekiel, or some people think in the Book of Acts Jesus does this, or Paul has the thorn in the flesh where he sees God. And so maybe there's something around ascending up into this state and coming back down, and there's a translation function where it's hard to say, once you've ascended, it's hard to say what you've seen, like in the Murescu immortality key, where there's like a fight club around it or something.
This is the fight club of the ancient world. Whatever happened there, no one talked about it, under penalty of death. I mean, people went to Eleusis as human beings, and from what little testimony survived, again because it's secret, under penalty of death, they walked away thinking they were immortal.
This all sounds really insane, I'm sure. But
I mean, you would have to have a fight club around it because no one's going to understand, nor are they going to take you seriously ever.
Talking about ascendancy and stuff. All right, let's move on to Elon. He's talking about religion too. Let's hear what he has to say over on with another dumb broad, Katie Miller, which is his Stephen Miller's wife. So I don't know, this just seems weird to me. I know I run a podcast, so it's a little bit like, I don't know, it feels almost like, but she's the wife of the president's chief of staff, and she runs a podcast where she's kind of interviews all the establishment people, and it's weird that this is where we're at now. This is I don't know. And for one, she's really stupid, and they've been putting her on a lot of different shows, and just absolutely embarrassing the administration and her husband. So let's see what Elon had to say to her, though. Let's do that again. Oh my God! Sorry, give me a second. It glitched out again. God, I fucking hate StreamYard. All right, bring it up. Here we go. All right, let's try this again.
Who do you look up to the most?
The Creator.
What's your current position on God?
God is the Creator.
You don't believe in God, though, do you?
Well, I believe this universe came from something. People have different labels.
Who do you look up to?
Which, by the way, I know that's maybe a lot of people might not get that, but I've dug a little bit, a tiny bit, into some of the weird Silicon Valley beliefs and stuff, and that seems to tie into all this other stuff. He's seemingly being kind of screwy about actually answering any sort of actual belief or whatever, but just kind of letting you guys know, in these circles, they legit believe in like an AI god, and they have these like thought experiments that if there were an AI, which we are creating AI, and they're all like banking on this idea that like it's going to get to the point to where then they're creating their own AI, and then those AIs are creating AIs, and then they can work on those AIs can work on making the other AIs more efficient. That's all these AIs, and somehow this whole clusterfuck of AIs can kind of create this crazy, and they're just such an unbelievable level of intelligence that we are like, they are literally God. Like, this is the sort of nerd shit that they're talking about over there. They're like, this thing is like literally God. And it even gets to the point they're like, well, if that were to happen, even if it is 1,000 years in the future that they get to this singular point with AI or whatever, at that point it would be almost like a singularity event type thing, and they would become a god. And then from there, it's such a level of power that it could reach into the past and into the future. And so like, it's this bizarre mind, like these thought experiments, which a lot of times they're actually not even really that deep. They're actually kind of dumb slop. This is like, I kind of found out about a lot of this stuff when I was digging into the Zizians a while ago, which is kind of a perfect example of what I'm talking about, the Zizians. They turn this weird, creepy cult, which, I mean, probably glows a little bit, but yeah, they literally believe that like these thought experiments that like there's gonna be this AI god, and yes, so this like creator thing, you're like, this is kind of how they escape. Like, if there theoretically ever is an intelligence that reached that level, it would be God, and it would be essentially time would no longer become of importance to it, and so it would have become its own creator. It's just retarded. These are sort of fucking retarded intellectual masturbation they're having, which is funny because I say this after just beefing about theory. But I actually think theirs is retarded, though. Like, when you like dig into this stuff, this Silicon Valley, it really feels like cokeheads that think they're smart that are like theorizing, and you're like, this stuff is stupid, and you're like, but you're building upon stupid. And so I don't know. I really can't explain it. I'd recommend a lot of you guys go dig into. Was it like what's it called? There's like God, I'm trying to make the name of it. There's like the Zizians kind of an offshoot. It was like ethical something or other. I don't know, whatever. Like, they get really, this is like kind of like also like an end result of wokeism type stuff, where like this like weird, like, well, you know, we have to be good to everybody, and then sort of to prevent harm to it's like the least amount of harm type, logic. It gets really bizarre, and it gets in this odd abstract place where they find ways to justify anything they want. I don't know. Once again, people, if you're in the logic world, always re-examine your premises, because sometimes you get to really retarded spots. Moving on, here's this guy named Sean McGuire, which I never really heard about before, but I think it may be a little interesting to take a little bit of a minor dive into him. I think you'll see why it's of importance and ties into this topic here in a moment.
I also, I worked in the U.S. DoD. After those 2 years, I spent many more years working with the DoD, been involved in information warfare for a very long time. For me, when I see someone that is unwilling to criticize, globalize the Intifada, that lies about their ethnicity on their college application, and has like 7 incidents of supporting terrorists, and that seemed like the defining issue for him from 2009 to 2017 or so. Like, for me, with my past background, all of my spidey senses went off. And as I posted this, like, it's actually pretty wild. I mean, first of all, I've been able to do the after-action report and understand like the specific individuals that tried to get me fired and canceled. One of whom is an actual Muslim Brotherhood operative who he was posting a bunch of videos on Twitch, telling people like to email Sequoia LPs, and actually making they have an AI tool that you just press a button and it will auto-generate an email so that it's slightly different text every time and send it to our LPs. And so this guy, literally, there's videos of him doing this. He was just arrested 3 weeks ago, and he's being deported by the Trump administration for other things, for material support of Muslim Brotherhood. And so it's like, I know for a fact there's actually the Muslim Brotherhood was behind trying to get me canceled. And, you know, then CARE got involved. CARE wrote, the Council on American Islamic Relations, wrote a letter trying to get me fired from Sequoia. And so I basically got to see this whole machine. It is very sophisticated infrastructure designed to, when you poke the bear, when you are a threat to them, to come and try to cancel you.
All right, now now Sean McGuire says, I've been involved in information warfare for a very long time. So that little piece in there is of interest. Now, what is he talking about? Who is this guy? Well, according to Boltzmann Booty, he says Sean McGuire is a DARPA spook. He worked in Army intelligence, then co-founded a private DARPA and Teal-backed internet surveillance corporation with a CEO from the CIA. Now he funds Israeli intel startups via Sequoia and got the Israeli military access to Starlink days after 10/7. So this is the guy we're talking about. And kind of in these influencer stuff. Here is here's a video with John Kiriakou, which I feel like this is pretty revealing. This is Sean McGuire. This is what he had to say about this clip, which I think right now, this is kind of, I don't even really need to spell it out for you. This is a Sean McGuire guy that I just showed you a clip of. Here's his caption of a video of John Kiriakou. He says, this is a wild clip. John Kiriakou is an ex-CIA officer. He spent 2 years in prison for leaking the name of an undercover CIA officer. And now he's on the podcast circuit, in part launched by Tucker Carlson in 2019 and Rogan recently. And he hates America. Now, watch this and see what you think after learning a little bit about Sean McGuire's past and then seeing what he's referring to and kind of clutching his pearls going, oh my God, he hates America.
So they let me say anything I want. I've never, ever received any pushback. And I make a handsome living. Like I've always said, if CNN's got an offer or MSNBC or even Fox, I'm on Fox at least every other week. I'm all ears. But
by the way, the context here is talking about working for Russia Today, the news site.
5 kids, 3 of whom still need to get through college. I make no apologies.
So then when you became a sworn officer of the United States,
this is like Bustello or whatever name. He's some other incredibly glowy guy, and you're going to see. It's kind of astounding. I think this guy is actually a true believer. But watch this.
What was your intention? Was your intention to make the United States to protect and expand the superiority of the United States, or was it something else? Did you think you were making a better that by affiliating your name with Russian state media, you might get to say anything you want, but that doesn't mean that's what goes to air. When it gets translated into Russian, it can be whatever they want it to be.
It's a live show. It's in English.
It's an internet show, right?
It's terrestrial.
Also broadcast.
But they're going to have the rights to make out of it whatever they want to make out of it. And your name and your affiliation that is exactly the foundation for how Russian covert influence operations happen.
Aw, poor CIA. There's a former CIA guy working for the Russians. He may do some damage to the American government. Fuck the American government. What have they done for me?
Fucking based. Keep in mind, he just said, fuck the American government. Did he say fuck America? No.
What have they done for my children?
Do you really
violate my rights?
Do you really not know the answer to that?
Come on, man. It was the CIA that put me in prison. What in the world do I owe the CIA?
It was your decisions that put you in prison.
It was the CIA.
By the way, when he says your decisions, because people always, the Fed types will always refer to apparently that he supposedly revealed a source. But for one, revealed some sort of the identity of an agent. Well, for one, that wasn't even anyone who ever even worked in undercover work. Supposedly, obviously, you never know. But according to the reports, this is a guy who didn't even work undercover, and even then, the journalists with who he gave that information to never released their name. So completely irrelevant. It's just some fucking stupid point people come up with to be like, you're a fucking traitor.
CIA's law breaking that put me in prison.
It was your choice to highlight the CIA's law breaking to media that put you in prison.
There we go. So we're in agreement then.
Your children's, they live every day under the protection of the United States. They have all the benefits of American citizens. You get to enjoy. You're here on an American podcast. You flew on an American airline. You're staying in an American protected hotel.
What do you think my children's memories are?
The police officers driving around the streets right now. All of these people are contributing to the freedoms that you have.
Oh, wow.
All of them.
Wow.
And you're sitting here saying...
You're a true believer.
I'm a true believer in the fact that we have to serve the American dream. We have to serve the American purpose. That's what we're here to do.
And that's exactly what I'm doing by opposing the American government.
Oh, dude, that is so beautiful. That's such a great clip. I love that. That actually gets me hyped. Now, I like it too because for one, I know Kiriakou is someone I've never paid enough attention to. I'm aware of him. He was the one who released information about the torture program or whatever, and ended up going to jail. And funny enough, people always say that there was one arrest or one people actually who did any time or whatever. I forget the specific way. It's usually hedged for the torture program. And yeah, it was the person who blew the whistle on it, John Kiriakou. Now, I've always struggled to trust him. And to be fair, I still kind of do because, anytime anyone has such a glowy history, it's like, yeah, cool. I know you're like, oh, well, you released the thing, but it's like anytime something's too good to be true and there is a glowy attached to it, you should probably always be a little cautious. And I don't know, it strikes me the guy would probably understand that and be like, yeah, you should probably do that. But I will say, at the very least, this one right here is like, well, shit. Maybe he is a real one. At the very least, if he's not a real boy, he knows how to talk like a real boy. So props to Kiriakou for that. And then on the same time too, I didn't even think about how this guy applies to that video I said at the beginning. I guess maybe not as much. The Bustamante or whatever the hell his name is, the guy with the big crazy hair. How that applies, because one of the things they said in there, the way the CIA gets you is they be like, you're a patriot or whatever. And so this or that. So I think this is probably how they get the hooks in, especially for the past CIA guys, like the Sean Ryans, this guy's name, the Bustamante or whatever the hell is. It's still this like, oh, well, you want to, you like America, right? So you want to help America. So it's from this frame. And then also they probably, how we even started from the beginning, that, kind of is joking like, oh no, the CIA blackmails its own officers if they try to get out or try to, speak truth. Well, there's probably some component of that too, where perhaps this guy knows that, hey, they know everything about me and they know, if you're someone in the CIA, you probably know how they operate. So, and with that, I guess if this kind of makes me feel like, Kiriakou's a real boy, and then it makes me like all the more like, Jesus Christ, man, the state really did screw this guy over. And I don't know, there's something beautiful in that, and seeing someone who, with his spine stands up to it. Yeah, they did, fell for it, they fell for it again. But, every now and then people fall for it, and you fall into, human nature, and there's just something beautiful when you go, no, fuck you, and you stand up, chest out straight, and go, this is what's right, and this is, like, hell, even him, he's talking about, like, what my kids knew and this and that. So I think he probably had very similar type thoughts as I have in reflecting on these things. Strikes me as a good man. So props to him. I'd love to have him on the show sometime. And then to kind of bring this near the end of where we're at, kind of wrapping to bring this to a crescendo here. Here's Gray Zone. Former Israeli spies are now overseeing U.S. government cybersecurity. It says the Pentagon, Treasury, DHS, and other U.S. agencies have begun relying on a firm launched by former Israeli military intelligence operatives to consolidate data. Isn't that great? So we got Israeli spies overseeing government cybersecurity. And then we also have Israel signed a $725 million propaganda budget for 2026 to polish its global reputation. Maybe this funny meme will make you feel a little bit better about this. Here is here's a side-by-side of Elon Musk and then Barron Trump. Elon being a goofy boy and Barron being weirdly serious and seeming uncomfortable clapping. And you have, for Elon, you have Hasbro budget, and then you have the goofy, happy, go lucky, and then you have Barron Trump being serious and sullen and weird and uncomfortable as Hasbro performance. Well, let's hope that plays out, because yes, the whole world is turning against them, but unfortunately, the whole world is the dark side of this. The shadow world is seemingly consolidating and passing off everything to this thing, to this entity. So a little scary. Let's check in and see what our old boy Netanyahu has to say about it. And of course, the audio's out. Oh my God. I'm gonna. Who's that chick who went to YouTube and like, you guys know what I'm talking about. The chick who went to YouTube and like shot up the place or did whatever. I'm not gonna do that obviously, but StreamYard. I mean, I'm about to be standing. I'm about to chain myself. No, what didn't she like chain herself to the building, or was that Loomer? I think Loomer did that, didn't she? She like chained herself to some whatever. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chain myself to the StreamYard. If you keep fucking up my shit, StreamYard, you're making me look bad. You're making me look stupid. You're making me look dumb. Please stop it. It makes it hard to make my words good when I can't make the pictures and videos good, okay? It's hard. I'm not good at the pictures and videos, and I'm not good at the words, and so you make it all that much harder. But here we go. Let's check back in on our boy, Netanyahu.
The one thing that we will always insist upon is that the sovereign power of security from the Jordan River, which is right here, to the Mediterranean Sea, which is right there, that will always remain in Israel's hands. And that means that Israel will control its destiny and continue to protect its security for our sake and for others as well. I have to say, Friedrich, I think we're at the cusp of a new age, because I think that we will achieve the expansion of peace. I think that we are at a new age because I think that the possibilities of technology, with their risks, especially in AI, but with their positive benefits, are enormous in every field. I mean, from agriculture to health to transportation to, and I think that we are together, we can lead this and become not a secondary power, but a primary power in the advance of humanity.
Talking about becoming a primary power, and I think perhaps there might be something to that as they get their Greater Israel project and leech off of us, and we become a dying dinosaur. Then they arise from the ashes. I think that's how they very well may see this situation. Let's roll through the chat, checking on you guys, see what you got to say. RR channel 2464 says Mussolini threw Crowley out of Italy in 1924. Farm Girl 86 says these giant data centers in all the states have been funded, so now they need to start using them and collecting all our data to make tons of money. Thanks, Trump retard. Ha ha ha. Yes, exactly. John Black says the Senate already voted this AI executive order via an amendment in the OBBB. It was voted down 99-1. The amendment was added by Ted Cruz. The amendment getting removed was by Marsha Blackburn. Yes, that's the interesting thing about this too. This is like, no one wants this. It's very clear nobody wants this. It seems like maybe it's just this boomer thing of somewhere where they're like, AI is the future. Everyone loves. No, I mean AI is like kind of cool, neat little thing, but like this idea they're like, this is what's going to say. No. All right, let's keep going. Knife City Plus says that Rothschild pussy got me acting strange. Someone asked me who controls the White House, and I said transhumanist Christian technocrats. Yeah. Let me see. Tom says they sold a plot of land to one of these data centers right by the power company for my parents' house. They haven't tried to improve any plans yet, but people are pissed off. Yeah, that seems to be rinse and repeat. Everyone's getting pissed about that. So Farm Girl says if they have big sponsors, they are sold out, unfortunately. I only ever got Nadeau. Only got the shaving guy. And just me now. By the way, I'm open. I'm open for business. If there's anybody has a nice product that you feel like I'd like, let me know. I'm all for getting a sample, and if it is something I like as well, I will promote it. But I will not suck your dick. So sorry, I won't sell out. Unless you give me like 7,000 per post. Just kidding. All right. Yeah, Tom 33 said they have big sponsors. That's all. Most of them need to censor themselves. They don't need to be directly compromised. These comedians aren't exact. Yup, they're just trying to get their money, get their Kalshi ads, their gambling ads, their whatever the fuck, because they need their money. 80 million from from Spotify. Of course, he's an asset. Says Alien Big Cat. Yeah. Martin Max says women in power prove time and again that women should not be in power. 100%. Tucker was just on Theo's pod. I'm convinced he might be Theo's new handler, which, by the way, I mean, I wouldn't say go watch the whole Rogan, but there's all sorts of funny compilations of the last time Theo was on Rogan. If you need further, pattern recognition point to direct yourself to, this guy is controlled. Theo was Jew fed posting hard as fuck in there, and Rogan was having none of it. It was pretty wild. Yeah, what else we got in here? And then we'll see if we can't figure out. We'll see if we can't figure out how to get a squeeze in this last segment. Bugfight says, "Yeah, I do need Rogan to tell me about my religion." Yeah, exactly. It's as weird. See you, Conrail. Glad you joined us today. Be here the next time. Bugfight says, "I'm so over these genius guys trying to be mysterious and sounding like college students in a philosophy class." Yup. Podcast review. John's story is wide open, and what he went to jail for was exposing torture. Yeah, I've never looked deep enough into him. What I was expressing is more the idea that I know he's former glowy. I mean, I'm somewhat aware of him. I just always the fact he's a former glowy. I just feel like starting from the jump, I'm gonna be looking a little bit with suspicion from the jump. So it's cool to see him being super based, though. Pretty cool. John Black pointing that out too. Good morning, Nick Rivera. Yeah, see, podcast review says, "Oh my God, I need this full podcast episode." I know, right? Didn't that get you hype? That's fucking sick. Let me see. Tom33 says, "Guy is a correct response to what happened to him, publicly saying fuck him without Fed posting. I believe he's a true believer, and I bet because of him, there's a lot less real boys in the CIA." Yeah, I kind of have that vibe too. I mean, I don't know. That would seem to be too hard to be a performance. So it seemed too real to me. So. Good morning, Black Guy. Good to see you here. Podcast review, chain yourself to Loomer. Unfortunately, she'd probably like that. Yeah, StreamYard's out here making me Fed post. It sure is. It's usually referred to as the CIA Hollywood Liaison Office, says Showers in Cornfield. Overt coercion and propaganda thinly veiled in movies and TV related to Mockingbird. Bug fights, it's a boomer thing. I had to talk to my dad out of thinking Teal's technology is going to revolutionize the government for the good. I showed him that weird Antichrist interview. All right, by the way, actually, I think I'm realizing we're already at basically 2 hours. Can I I'm thinking if I can maybe cut this influencer stuff maybe in half, do half today, half tomorrow. Well, maybe let's cover just the back and forth Tim and Candace beef, which is gay, but this is part of it. We'll cover that. I think it looks like he's full of shit. And then we'll go into, I did have a little bit where I was kind of going to, and here's where I think Candace might be jumping the shark. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow, especially since we have more stuff coming out. We do have, I'll go and let you guys know, we have Tyler Robinson supposed to be in court today. So we'll see. Tyler, better get on that shit. That's your jam right there. So get on it. So maybe it might be better to actually save that segment until tomorrow. They can come make a further Candace jumping the shark type segment. And so, yeah, we'll shorten this segment down. All right, cool. That's how we'll do it. We'll shorten the segment down a little bit. Here's Viva Fry. Let me check and see if... okay, cool. StreamYard hasn't shit the bed yet. But here's Viva Fry commenting on Candace Owens. And I'll just point out Viva's kind of been a homo. He said, "I often say it's not an airport and nobody needs to announce their departure. But this is my line of stand for Candace. This alone confirms pretty much all the criticism against her. Tim is a good man, Tim Pool. He's a hardworking man. He's an unimpeachably honest man. To say something like this is permanently discrediting. Let's see what this permanently discrediting thing that he dared to say about Tom Paragon of goodness. Let's watch this, which is a fucking joke. Which, bear in mind, I'm also telling you, I literally just, revealed the spoiler there. The other half of this was essentially a Candace jumping the shark, kind of possibly, although I think she basically did jump the shark. Or we're getting ready to have another Alex Jones Sandy Hook moment. And bear in mind, I'm someone who thinks some wonky shit happened at Sandy Hook. So it's all the more convenient that you have this big fucking circus with Alex Jones that distracts from any sort of real truth. And they just go, "Oh, it was all fake." I think some wild shit happened. I think some people died. I think we just don't know what happened. So bear that in mind. It is also relevant too. Candace's dad, manages a contract for Sandy Hook, which that was just revealed by Dana Duda not too long ago. So that's new information you can run with. So, which actually, maybe, all right. No, let's watch this.
He is a fundamentally weak man for what he did there. He should apologize. He won't. I don't.
By the way, she's responding to one of the many gay little rants he's had recently.
Don't care what happened to his platform. He's now essentially trying out because he's under financial pressure. He's trying out for a Zionist to pay him, and they will. Okay, they will cut him a check, and I hope it happens for you, Tim. I hope it makes you happy. But to do that to someone who has never done anything to you other than disagree with you about the Charlie Kirk narrative, I have not focused my content on you, and anytime your name has come up, it has been because you have explicitly, you are a coward. You are less than a man. Okay, you are behaving. Your type right there is like a person who's having financial issues and yet decides to go out and put 100K on a poker game, and when he loses and is a further 100K in the hole, comes back home and beats his wife and kids and thinks he's a tough guy. That's how you're acting right now. I'm not your wife. I'm not your kids. Get your affairs in order and stop blaming me, because I'm actually traversing down the path that hasn't been traveled by standing up and saying that something corrupt happened and Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I don't care about your midterms. Okay, I don't care about your next year midterms and whether or not the Republican Party is united. Okay, because I don't want to stand next to people that would cover up Charlie Kirk's assassination. I hope that I have made my point perfectly clear.
Yeah, and I think I do want to remind you guys, so this, keep your eye on the ball. This is, once again, this is, making the game, like soccer defense, 101, fucking eye on the ball. Don't watch the people, watch the ball. And so that's the biggest thing here. She even there kind of made it out like, well, I don't want people saying that they're just covering up for his assassin. It's like, well, it's not one or the other. Like, for one, I guess it's sure. Maybe if you're someone completely buying the official narrative, sure, whatever. But I don't necessarily think I buy the official narrative, and that doesn't mean I'm ready to buy whatever fucking written narrative gets handed over to us by Candace, who has a little bit of a dubious record when it comes to her journalism or whatever the hell it is you want to call it that she does. We'll probably talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But either way, Tim is a big fucking faggot, and she's actually pretty damn on here, shitting on him. I don't really know what Viva Fry's thing was. Oh my god, so crazy. Yeah, Tim had a complete freak out, and Candace called him a little bitch. Like, he is. This is not a. And okay, no. To be fair, he's like, this is awful. Okay, the beating the wife, the poker. Well, I saw someone the other day share. I guess. Maybe I probably almost shouldn't repeat it, I guess, perhaps, since it's like I don't even remember. But apparently this is actually like a rumor that's gone around. So I think she's saying something that actually may be somewhat based in fact. Now, if we come to find out that's bullshit, okay, then that's... But apparently this guy is... the rumor that goes around is he actually does have a little bit of an anger problem and a gambling problem as well, which I find to be entirely believable with his disposition. And is like holier than thou fucking faggotry. I can totally see him being that kind of fucking bloviating idiot. Like, but anyways, let's move on to the next thing. And then from there, it turns into, now Tim's running with this, I guess, apparently Candace hated Charlie narrative. So let's hear about that.
Behind the scenes, Candace was telling people that she hated Charlie.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Weird. It sounded like that girl.
The problem is there are a ton of people. So before Charlie Kirk was killed, Candace had been telling a bunch of people, and I have names, Candace. I have names because I get tips too. She was telling people that she hated Charlie. And these people are scared to speak out because they fear that Candace will do things like put them on a thumbnail that says who benefited from Charlie.
By the way, I think he's lying. I 100% think he's lying. I mean, I don't know. Now, to be fair, I'm completely open to the idea that she hated him. But I just feel like, I don't know, these are probably people that, I don't know. I don't know these guys' personal anything, but they probably know enough about each other. They know that probably neither of them is really going to want to go to Discovery because there's probably all sorts of weird skeletons in these people's closets and shit. So, I think they can kind of probably get away with making certain little things like that. And also, you never know to what extent it's like there might be some sort of theater, and who knows if they're in on it. But I'm saying they can be genuinely at odds with each other and still both be lying and making bullshit up just to get things going. I mean, Tim is everyone knows views are down. I'm gonna live a van down by the river. Well, fucking do it. No one gives a shit, Tim. Like, you're so fucking sucks. I'm sorry. But let's keep going. Apparently Candace hated Charlie.
Kirk's death, like she did to me. They fear that people will start harassing them, make up lies about them, which is happening to us here at Timcast. And they fear that some psychotic retard who follows Candace, no, I'm not saying everyone who follows her is a psychotic retard. I'm saying at least one of them will harm them. And these people haven't been speaking up. Now, more and more people are starting to. Good. So I'm looking forward to those people who have been saying behind the scenes that Candace hated Charlie Kirk and she was just going on and on about it. Maybe if they said something from the get-go, we wouldn't be in this position. But Candace knows people are afraid of her.
I don't know. I think he's being a faggot. But, well, remember he talked about, I was saying, I don't believe him. Well, let me tell you a little bit, give you a little more reason why I don't think I totally believe him, and I don't think his sources are so great, his tips or whatever, because he's such a fucking journalist. This is why, these guys aren't really journalists. I don't know what you might want to call him something else, but that ain't what it is. Here's Genghis Khan saying, let me set the record straight. Tim is calling about, I don't know what he's saying. He's calling out Candace for lies. Here's Timmy lying through his teeth the night Charlie got shot about having an insider in the hospital telling him he was alive and stable. Timmy lied for 31 million clicks of ad revenue. Fraud. Which is actually pretty ironic, because I actually did get a couple death threats from my poorly timed joke, I guess. And you know what? Part of it, I never brought this up, but I remember in the moment, I literally was as it happened, you're looking through and seeing what people are saying, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, oh, this guy, I remember actually seeing this come up in my feed, and source tell me Charlie's stable. So obviously this is in no way me apologizing or hedging it, but the way I was calculating my joke in my head, it was just a stupid kind of, Stevie Wonder joke, because the guy hit him in the neck, and Charlie Kirk was known for having a big head. And it was no way saying I advocated or want him to get shot. I was just kind of holy shit, how'd you miss that type thing? And I actually was kind of leaning towards he was probably gonna be okay, because we had that initial video that came out where it was it was a little bit different angle, so you could have seen maybe he got clipped or something. You're oh, maybe he just got grazed. And then I remember seeing Tim Pool was oh, source somebody's stable. And I'm that seemed like a crazy thing to fucking share if you didn't have real good fucking proof. So I don't know. Once again, I have no idea who the source is, but he did get 31 million views off this, so who knows? Maybe he was just capitalizing off the moment, knowing no one's going to ever call him out for it later. But here we are, and sorry if it falls on flat ears when you're arguing with Candace Owens. That doesn't mean I buy all her bullshit either, but I definitely don't fucking buy yours, especially because I do think you're a weak little coward. All right, and then kind of one more thing, kind of a nail in the coffin. Well, remember that supposedly the shooting or whatever? Well, the cops have released something. I'll go ahead and release it to you, or go ahead and read it to you guys real quick. Here's a press release from Berkeley Sheriff. He says on Saturday, December 6th at 048 hours, deputies were dispatched to residents on redacted reporting report suspicious circumstances. The caller represented himself as private security and indicated a dark gray sedan drove by multiple times on Friday, December 5th, 2025, and again on this date. The caller reported hearing loud bangs from the tree line and saw the dark sedan driving by. No further relevant information was provided at time to responding deputies. Deputies cleared the call. On the same date, a Berkeley County Deputy Criminal Investigator followed up with this call and requested video footage from the residents in question. An individual representing himself to be security advised the owner of the residence did not wish to provide the requested video recording. Why, Timmy? Why would you not provide this to the cops? I could somewhat buy the argument that I heard the other day of the camera argument was dumb because you can just move them somewhere else. I feel like you have enough, you should be a wealthy enough person, you can move your things and it'd be worthwhile to provide proof of the shooting. I understand that not wanting to show logistics of your place, but this is to the cops. Unless you're some crazy next level anarchist, which I know you're not because you're a fucking centrist fucking loser, there's no real reason I can understand why you wouldn't want to provide the supposed proof to the cops. Because now here we are going, wow, there's no proof of this. The Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, the reports of shots being fired at this residence cannot be substantiated this time. The Berkeley County Sheriff's Office requests anyone with information regarding evidence related is called to contact Deputy Amber Weidman at 304-267-7000. So, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Weird. It's weird how these things repeat over and over again. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Sorry, I'm not going to go through the chat. I need to get out of here. Podcast review saying I'm going to the Robinson hearing right now. Oh, wow, that's cool. No way. Let's get out of here. Love you all. And sorry, I'm not going to sit here and talk to the chat. I think my old lady is messaging me right now to see what she wants. I see. Okay, never mind. I can at least answer a couple. I just checked the chat. It's nothing crazy. Mike Liberty says John Kiriakou called out Bustamante, AQ Timu, Jason Bourne for being a fraud about the book he put out. about how Bustamante found a mole, but Bustamante was a failed case officer and he's full of it. That's awesome. Here's Martin Max, I'm buying him BS, but I really think it's all fake, just like the Trump assassination attempt. In fact, I'm 50-50 on Kirk is still alive. Yeah, I'm very much with you. The more this goes on, the less I'm believing Candace, and the more I'm like, this is just theater all around. This is all just stupid theater. You see the physics analysis I tagged you in? Says, maybe I did. It's probably buried in the bookmarks. The bookmark system's not entirely perfect yet. Holy shit. Somebody said Shatner's wife was found dead in a pool. That's wild. All right. Scrolling through here, seeing if there's anything else worthwhile answering. John Black, Tim got picked on too much as a kid. He's been smeared, the smeared queer one too many times. And of course, KK Candace is a chirping she-boon. Yep. All right, guys, let's get out of here. For those who want to support the show, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find this You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers. You can find it on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. You can also support this show in the best way you can with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gives you access to early episodes. I usually do about 1 to 2 of those per week. I try to keep about 4 behind the paywall at any given time. You also get access to ad-free RS feed. You also get access to Telegram. You also get access to pre-show, post-show, and video calls. Me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead. And also give a big shout-out to my sponsors. It's a big thank you for their support on the end of every episode. My big thank you to my previous co-host and Tower Gang, at Learner Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZOVRCK, at _Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at Jolin Klebold, big fan of the show, Torme, at Wayne Tackless, One Hair Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, Jacob Winograd of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. And with that, guys, we're out of here. We love you. We're going to play an outro on the way out, a funny little video of squirrels jumping. Thank you, John Black. It's adorable. See you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Hopefully.
This is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
It is cute. Those motherfuckers be plotting. See y'all. Bye-bye.